Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope you're having a great day. In today's video, we're going to be going over how to create this pixel effect where it animates in and then it animates out. So let's get right into it. Here in After Effects, I have this footage of Sofago from his music video, and in order to create this pixel effect, we're going to use an effect called Card Dance. I'm going to increase the value for both the rows as well as the columns. So the higher the number is, the smaller the pixel is going to look. Increase both of these to 600. This effect is pretty render intensive, so if you need to change the resolution, you can always change it to the third or quarter resolution, and by doing that, you just get a smoother experience as you're working on this effect. After increasing the rows and the columns, you want to go to the gradient layer 1 and then just change that to the layer that we're working on. Now, in order to create this effect, we're going to be focusing on both the Y position as well as the Z position. From the start of this timeline, we're going to go forward 8 frames because I want the first 8 frames of this footage just play normally, and then we're going to keyframe both the multiplier for the Y position as well as the Z position. But before we do that, we want to go to the source and then change this one to intensity. As you guys can see, that changes the footage into the pixel effect, and I'm sure you can go through some of the other settings as well in order to go for different looks. I'm just going to stick with the intensity one for now. Keyframe the multiplier at 0 at the start. Go forward 14 frames. Keyframe the multiplier to 0.25 because I don't want the Y value to be too high, because if it's too high, it just looks kind of weird. So I'm just going to stick with a lower number. From this frame, we're going to go forward 12 frames. Keyframe the multiplier back to 0. Now we're going to keyframe the Z position. Make sure to go to the source, and then we're going to also change this one to intensity 1. Keyframe the multiplier at 0. Go forward 14 frames. We're going to keyframe this to 10. The higher the number for this multiplier, as you guys can see, it just adds more depth to our effect. And then if you have a lower number, it just feels a lot flatter. So I feel like 10 is the perfect number, and I'm just going to keyframe that. Go forward 12 frames. Keyframe that back to 0. Now we're going to go through some of the other settings of this effect just so we can see what this effect can do. So if I decrease this to 200 and also the columns, the pixels appear a lot bigger. So if you feel like that looks better, you can always just decrease those values, but I'll just keep mine both at 600. And then if you go through some of the other settings for the X rotation, change the source to intensity 1. And if I increase the multiplier, you can't really notice it, but it does create a rotation for the particles. And then if you go to the X scale, change the source to intensity 1, that really just increases the scale of the pixels. But I'm just going to stick with both the Y position as well as the Z position. And we're also going to add one more effect to this layer. I'm going to add a turbulent displace, and by adding this effect, it just creates more of a distortion for our pixel effect. I'm going to increase the amount to 80. Keyframe both the amount and the size at the middle, and then go to the start, keyframe this to 0, and then keyframe the size to 0 or 2. 2 is actually the lowest value it goes to when it comes to the size. Go to the end and do the same thing. Grab all of those keyframes and easy ease them. Now when I play this, this is what we have for our pixel effect. And by creating this effect, it does create a transparent background. So if you don't really like the way that looks, you can always just duplicate this layer by clicking Ctrl D and then go to the bottom layer, delete both the Card Dance as well as the turbulent displace effects. This is how it looks with the background, and I think it looks good both with the background as well as without the background. It all just comes down to whichever one you like better. But that is the final look for this effect. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.